Hi everyone, yasas, que kalos to another episode of Dimitra's Dishes. Today I'll be making Tiropitakia, a classic Greek appetizer that's made with phyllo, feta cheese, and other cheeses and herbs to make them so delicious. Tiropitakia are the perfect little appetizers, and I'll be showing you the easiest way to make them and freeze them so that way you can have them on hand whenever you need them. Let's get started. Okay, so to make the filling, it's really easy. You're gonna need 1.5 pounds of good quality feta cheese. That's about 700 grams. And you're gonna go ahead and crumble that all in a large bowl. You can use a fork if you'd like, but I'm just gonna crumble it with my hands. And then I'll add 1 pound of really good quality ricotta cheese to this. You wanna make sure that it's a full fat, whole milk ricotta cheese so that way it's not watery or grainy. It'll be nice and creamy and thick, just like this is. I'll also add 1 cup of grated parmesan cheese, or 70 grams. If you wanted to have more of a pull to it, you can add some shredded mozzarella, some Gouda cheese, Gruyere, whatever your favorite cheese is, you could add it to this. I just love the combination of parmesan, ricotta, and feta. Then I'll add 2 eggs, and I'll just beat them in the side of the bowl like this. 2 tablespoons of olive oil, or a little bit more, it won't hurt. Some freshly cracked black pepper, and I did start mixing everything together and I realized that I forgot the mint. So I have some fresh mint over here. I'm just going to take the leaves off of the stem. It's already been washed and dried. And I'm just going to finely chop this mint and add it to the cheese mixture. If you don't have fresh mint, you can definitely use some dried mint in this, some dried dill. Parsley and basil, they're not traditional, but they do go well with cheese, so you can add those if you'd like. Mint is just the most traditional herb that goes in the tiropitakia, so that's why I'm using it. I never need to add any salt to this. The cheeses are salty enough. So I'm just going to set this aside and get the phyllo ready. So I have 1 pound of number 4 phyllo that's been thawed overnight in the refrigerator, and then I left it out at room temperature for a good hour or 2 while I was doing some other things. When it's at room temperature, it's much easier to work with. Take it out of its packaging right before you're ready to work with it, and then just cut it into 3 equal portions. This is 12 inches long, so I'm just going to cut it into 4-inch portions just like this. Set them aside and just open each portion as you're using it. So I'm going to open it up, and in a little glass pitcher over here, I've just melted 2 sticks of butter. That's 1/2 pound of butter. I like to use salted butter for this because it has a lot of flavor, but you can use unsalted butter if that's what you have, and just put a little pinch of salt in it just to flavor it a little bit. So we're going to take 2 sheets of phyllo at a time, layer them on top of each other to create a little stack, and then I'll just drizzle a little line of butter over 3/4 of the phyllo. Take a tablespoon of the cheese filling and put it at the bottom of the phyllo, and then we're going to fold it up into a triangle just like I'm doing here until you get all the way up to the top. If you ever have 3 sheets stuck together, don't try to tear them apart. You can use 3 sheets at a time. What I ended up doing, I had a lot of filling and I didn't have another pack of phyllo thawed out, so towards the end I didn't record this, but I was just making the tiropitakia with 1 layer of phyllo, and that works, but it does start to tear a little bit, so I don't recommend it. The 2 layers of phyllo are ideal. These are going to go into baking trays, so if you're going to bake a bunch at once, if you're serving them all, you can put them in a 1/2 sheet baking tray. Just make sure that it's buttered really well at the bottom so that way they don't stick. I'm using these 1/4 sheet pans because I'm going to make some and freeze the rest. Once they're all in the pans, just go ahead and brush the tops with some more butter so that way they become nice and golden, and they also have lots of flavor. You can sprinkle some sesame seeds on top if you like. I'm leaving mine just like this. So if you're baking all of them, you can preheat your oven to 350 degrees Fahrenheit and bake these on the center rack until they're golden and crisp. That's going to take between 35 to 45 minutes depending on your oven. If you want to freeze half and then make half, that's fine too, because these freeze beautifully. You're going to assemble them and butter them just the way we did, and then transfer them to the freezer and chill them until they're frozen solid. Then you could wrap them in either foil or plastic wrap, a couple of layers, so that way they don't absorb any freezer odors, and they will keep fresh in the freezer up to 3 months. And you can take them out of the freezer and bake them frozen whenever you need them. To bake frozen tiropitakia, the only difference is same thing, you preheat the oven to 350, but instead of putting them in As is, you're gonna have to cover them with foil. You could poke a little hole on the top of the foil to let some of that steam escape and bake them covered for about 30 minutes and 35 minutes. Then remove the foil and continue to bake them at the same temperature until they're beautifully golden. That's gonna take another maybe 20 or 30 minutes or so. And it's just that easy. The house is gonna smell so delicious. Let's do the taste test now. Here how crispy they are. Oh my goodness, so good. I don't know about you guys, cheese is my weakness, but then when you pair it with something crispy and buttery like phyllo, it tastes like heaven in every bite. If you want to use more Greek cheeses to make this, other than the feta, there is a cheese known as Thaw, which is a little bit drier than ricotta cheese, but it's also creamy and kind of mild. And instead of the parmesan, of course, you could use kefalotiri or graviera. Let me know how you're making them in the comment section down below. You can head on over to the website to print this recipe out. And if you want to learn how to make spanakopita, click over here and I'll see you right over there. Yes, sis.